Okay, Rabbi say Simin Kuf Mem Aleph. Kuf Mem Aleph, Hilchos Megillah. Let's try to review. We know these halachas, but look right in the Chag, review them, make sure we're clear. Shenichas is Oder, Marbe Besimcha, Yisrael Sheish Din Udvarim Im Akum Goy, Yishpet Ime B'Chadizeh, to try to have the court case in this Chodesh because it has a good mazel. V'meimart Cheve Nikalu HaYehudim Shloisha also the Chodesh Adar Lamed Al Nafshon. Enokim, Mehevehem, they gathered together on Yud Gimel Adar. That was the day of the Goyrel. The Goyrel was the poor and Haman threw, fell out in Yud Gimel Adar. And remember, Achashverosh wasn't able to repeal his first decree. It had some type of funny rules over there. That once the king said something, you can't take it back. So he can make a second decree that the Yidden have the rights to defend themselves and they can also fight. So they had to fight. They had to daven for themselves on that day. But Sinu we find Hashem. You find whenever Yidden went to Muhammad, Yidden fasted. Hashem should help them. They got Moshe Rabbeinu Olav Shalom b'Yom Shenilchim b'Amalek is Anna. Moshe Rabbeinu fought with Amalek. He also stood Yeshua and Aaron and Hur stood next to him. They held up his hands. Yeshua went and took them to Muhammad. Okay. The stammer. Oz Gami Memart Cheve Esther is Anu B'Yom Gimel Adar. It's probably we don't have a real recording of it, but it's self-understood that those days they also fasted. V'lechein kibu aleim kol Yisrael yoim zel ataynis tzibur. V'nika ataynis Esther. V'dei liske shabeiri yisbal shmai roya. He sees v'shemeya kol tfilos ish. He said, "I'll say, because she is Anna v'Yashal Hashem b'cholavavim when he will return to Hashem. K'may she'asal v'seinu b'yam b'heim. B'kol makim ein taina zechoy v'kol kach it's not such an obligation. K'may arba tiniyah she'tzumim b'kol. We have clear tanesim that are mentioned in the Navi. Those are different status. Tisha B'Av, Shas B'Tammuz, Asar B'Tevis, and Gedalia have a higher status. Tainus Esther. Tainus Esther is not mentioned anywhere in the Torah. V'lechein yishlahakol by ve'eis hatzoyrich v'goyim nobaris v'minikes v'afilu choylok tzas b'keiv v'nayim shemitzayim harbe loy yis'anu v'chein yeledes kol shoyshim yoyim v'chasim b'tay shiris v'misha shalai chasim v'shem brachis ein sichmas anis v'yifru satainis achakach, and they should pay back the tainus at a later date. I don't see that that's the minig. That the pregnant
Paying rent? No.
that they pay back. We'll see in a second. Rashad Habrim to do it on a different date. Loy Yifush Esatz with Sibir, all other healthy people should not separate themselves from everyone else. I feel in Mishahoylov B'derech. The kosher vatainis mikol mokim. So if you're traveling, you should still fast. Now, in the Bezgeres Hashulchan mentions over here, points out this is from the Ramah. The Kiddush Shulchan mentioned that the women who didn't fast, they should make it up later. He says this is hard to understand. Because these women are also potter from the other fasts, from Shavas and Tammuz, and
Some day.
some Gedaliah and Salvatevis. So when they say that over here, they're chayiv to make it up. Fail the minig is the women don't make it up. You always have to know the minig, l'poil. It's not like it says here. But it's interesting just to remember that Tainus Esther is not, there's no pasuk for Tainus Esther. Not only is no pasuk, I'll tell you something interesting, there's no clear Chazal.
That's how the king is.
Yeah. Just the same thing as Shavas Batamas.
Which is?
It
says the word that song.
Tzoim Hachi, Tzoim Hasiri.
Tzoim is keeper.
No, Tzoim Hasiri is the 10th month. The Tzoim, that's in the 10th month.
But you said the word song.
Tavis, from Nisan, it's the 10th month. Then you have Shvat Adar, 11, 12.
Yeah.
Tzoim,
This would be fair.
when we say that, it actually doesn't say clearly the exact dates in the Navi. It says the month, that you fast in that month. But Tainus Esther is not mentioned, not only in Tanakh, it's not mentioned in Chazal. According to some Mishonim, I think according to Rabbeinu Tam, the Gemara has a discussion, the first Amud in Megillah, Sechs Megillah, Beis Amud Aleph. The Gemara has a discussion, how do we know the Mishnah starts off, Megillah Nikras, be it Aleph, be it Beis, be it Gimel, be it Dalet, it says Vav, you can read all those dates in Megillah. There were certain time periods in history, you're able to read it earlier than Megillah, earlier dates. Where do we learn it out? What it says, you should read the Megillah Bismanehem. Bismanehem means that Yudal and Tesvav is clearly in the Torah. You read the Megillah in cities, and Yudal in the walls in cities, Tesvav.
You say Tachem, you know, if you're basically.
Yeah. Yeah. So
here in Vlad was people don't say.
And before said Tachem.
Not only that, I think there are those that say don't say Tachem even after.
And they think more so. Right?
No, yeah.
I don't believe it's more so. I'll explain to you in a second. The Gemara says the Navi says the Megillah says clearly. We read the Megillah on Yudal and Tesvav. The Gemara questions where did the Mishnah get the additional dates from? Yeah, 3 extra days. So the Gemara says that we have a extra word. The pasuk says Bizmanei, you should read it in their times. Seems that besides Yudal Tesvav there are additional times. So it seems that there are Eloshen Rabbim. There was 2 days in the Megillah. There's another 2 days you can add on. Good, you have another 2 days, but we're adding on you Aleph, Beis, and Gimel, extra 3 days. So the Gemara says that Bismaneim is coming to Marba the 2 days of Aleph and Beis. Yud Gimel does not need a pasuk. Why not? It's a svara. The Gemara says, much like the last line in the first element. The Gemara says, Yoim Kihila Lakoilhi. Something better these words. It was a day of gathering from everyone. Rashi says, what was the gathering? They had to gather Nikulu Lamed al Nasham. They had to gather to fight. Rashi says the Iker Nes before the Tainus Esther. The Kriyas of Megillah. We're talking about what the Iker Nes happened. They won the war on Yud Gimel. Yudal is when they rested. So we celebrate Yudal. But when was the Iker Nes? When did it occur? It happened in Gimel. So that was when the poor was.
Yeah.
So the Gemara says Yud Gimel doesn't need a pasuk. It's self-understood that that's connected to the Yom Tov. You can read Megillah. Because my name is coming to Marba the extra days Yud Aleph the base. So Rashi says that Yom Kippur means because it was the day they gathered to fight the wars, the Ikernes. But Rabbeinu Tam brings a different reason. The Rabbeinu Tam says the Rosh brings Rabbeinu Tam, and he says Yom Kippur they didn't gather together and fasted and says slichis on that day in order to daven to Hashem to win the war. That's what it means. They gathered together. So that's where the shirish of Tainus Esther comes from.
Physically weaker. I mean, if you have to fight a war and fast, physically weaker. And you see by Moshe Rabbeinu with Amalek is the same thing.
He did fast.
He did fast. Okay, that was Moshe
Rabbeinu. Moshe Rabbeinu wasn't part of the Muhammad.
That was a Durham Nisan, but even here, in a technical sense.
Yeah.
It's not Mustafa, you can tell this really on with a Hamtel, used the word Hamtel.
So Lamaisa comes out, I'll say apart from that, but it's a good shaila. Lamaisa comes out that if we learn like Rabbeinu Tam, There's a hint to this in the Gemara by the word Yoin Kila Kol, the day of gathering for Tainus and Tefillah, according to that Pirush. But the Gemara actually never told us that you should fast on the day, you have to fast on the day. Just there's a mention of it.
It's a hint.
A mention of it that the word Yom Kihila meant that day, according to Min time. So Lamaisa, Tanis Esther is really a minig. It's a very old minig that we fast then. Therefore, it's much lighter times.
Since you guys are Muslim, you fast.
By Tanis Esther?
Closing
The men also.
that is not the women.
The women.
Chlana.
Because they were pregnant.
No, it's a very very time.
A light tinies.
Yeah. Are you they do fast, the women? Yes.
They look at the women, like Schwachenkids.
I'll tell you another Zach, when we grew up, those things that when we're going to Shabbos, Pashas, Zohar, to shoot here, and Kriya, Chabad is also such a problem. But we haven't getting a sugar in that. What?
It's one of the new fads.
What?
There's always new fads.
A new minute.
The faculty tells the women to read it from the Chumash. What about you? Shabbos Zohar?
No, there never was a big push for it.
No, what do they
There are a lot of women that go, but it's not like there's a pressure. Oh. A lot of them go on Purim. A lot of them go Purim. A lot of them go on Purim.
They probably have to do that anyway.
That's why. The Semech HaPur.
Or they will help you read to it.
The Torah's Chesed, we're going off on a tangent about Parshas Zachar. The Torah's Chesed of Shizam Leblin writes, the Rav Leblin, he writes, Leblin Rav, Oilam Loideinu V'Leishemanu Nashim going to Parshas Zachar. We never heard of such a thing, never seen it, and at least in his country where he was in Poland, never heard of this, and he says, they're not B'nei Kriya Minu, they have nothing to do with the Sefer Torah, it's not for Nashim, they're holding the Kriya the Sefer Torah, so therefore.
There's no reason to close on it, but now it's not politically correct.
But the word Gedei Yisrael, we have to be honest, that held that women were Chayiv Dir Parshas Zachar. But I don't think that you can make a big signs all over and pressuring women to go. But flat, the women have children, and then it becomes all these shilas. How are they doing the second kriya is really the property kalacha. Okay, anyways, a lot of things change, right? So we see a lot of things changing. So
we did this Shabbos something new.
And I'm surprised you allowed it.
There's a Sephardi guy that says that if Ashkenazi reads the Zohar, he's not Yotzeh. All the other one is Yotzeh, but Shabbos Zohar you have to listen to Sephardi. That's almost what should I do? So I said, I'll make the first bracha. When you finish, let them do the Kriyam and the Sephardi, and then I'll make the second bracha.
he got the aliyah.
Now I'm also get aliyah, made the first bracha.
And now
Finished. The Sephardi guy came and started reading Zohar.
And then it's very trap.
Without bracha, nothing.
And if I go to Achzinish Yeshila, instead of Baruch Elokeinu, I'm not Yotzeh. Increase in Megillah. My avar is Baruch Atah.
What was the pronunciation or was the truck issue?
It's Nish Yotzeh.
Was an issue with the pronunciation?
What was the difference about it? What was different about
The way they read it.
Because
No,
Baruch
but you're
Atah, I go Baruch Atah.
No, both were.
The key, the
So the issue was not the pronunciation; it was the truck.
I'll tell you, this is one of
Yes or no?
Zecher Zochor. You didn't say that. Zochor and Hashem.
Rabbi say we all have some level OCD, right? So
Shmulik, I'm
people
not clear,
invest
though.
in
Was
different
the
areas.
issue
I find in
how they
Parshas
say
Zachar,
a
people get very
pronunciation.
crazy
The issue
about
was
that.
the truck, the tune,
The whole truck.
the tune.
people are
Not the pronunciation.
taking out the wax out of the ears. People are getting ready. It's like a whole.
The nose Naaman.
If you go to
You'll Zeicher Zecher, to be honest,
if you read the Megillah with a
Zeicher Zecher,
Come from my young.
I understand, but in Api Halacha, there's no change in the meaning. Saying we do these things. We do all our minhag. They're all very important, but we all have to remember what's the ikar Api Halacha.
What's the halacha and what's the mitzvah?
Yeah, it's the ikar, the halacha, the minhag. Okay, now so everybody said Maisa, the gabi the shaila, what you have is a good shaila. The oilam, there's a big shaila b'chalal. Another shaila. Why is this Tainus Esther called Tainus Esther? Lefi, what Rabbeinu Tam, that the Rosh brings for Rabbeinu Tam. The marker, and what we just learned in the Kiddush HaHadarach, but the marker of Tanis Esther is because he didn't gather on the day of Yom Other to fast and daven. So when the Muhammad has nothing to do with Esther. Esther's fast, by the way, happened a lot earlier. Let's remember. Haman threw the poor. When Achashverosh gave a shus to Haman threw the poor. Esther heard about it, and Mordechai, that whole episode happened a year earlier. And Nisan time was when she went in during Pesach, and the Gemara explains that year they fasted on Pesach. She said, fast for me 3 days. And they didn't do Pesach Seder that year. It was an easy Seder. They had to fast.
Wait. Maybe it was 72-hour fast, like with no break at night.
That's what Kiv de Oraisa it's
No break.
can take away
72 hours straight.
That's what it seems like for the Megillah. So Lamaisa, the second day Pesach was the second Sukkah. It says actually when the Ma brings, you should add something there to the meal
on the second day of Pesach.
to remember this meal. I don't know if anyone does this, but there was such a minhag to do something, a special dish to remember Achashverosh, the second Sukkah when Esther uncovered the plot.
The
For 3 days.
The first day Yom Tov and the second day Yom Tov. And when she came into the palace, the first day Chalmai.
I think it was the second day.
They were only doing 2 days Yom Tov or 1 day Yom Tov?
They fasted. They abolished the whole first days. They fasted the Erev Pesach and the first 2 days Yom Tov. So how's that work?
So when did she go in?
By the third day.
On the third day, on the which is first day Chalmai for them.
If anything, it's Matzah Yom Tov already.
For them, it was maybe.
So it wasn't Yom Tov per se. She went into the 3 days. So even what was the first day Chalmai she went into him?
I don't know. I have to look up the cheshbon. I didn't look up the cheshbon.
I teach my class that you fasted 3 days. There was no Pesach. More than 3 days.
Yeah. I have to look it up. Yeah, it's clear. I just don't remember the exact cheshbon.
That's what I thought.
I don't remember the cheshbon. I remember that the Rambam writes Hilchos Pesach. They have a special dish to commemorate
Second day, not
the second day meal. Now, Lamaisa, then she came, and then it started when Achashverosh wrote. They sent out the second letters, but the actual he couldn't take it back. That a year later, on Yid Gimel Adar, is going to be the day, and everyone they were waiting a whole year. What's going to be that day? So Tainus Esther, the 3 days that she asked to fast, happened almost a year later. So what does it have anything to do with, why do we call this Tainus Esther? So someone, the Rebbe wrote a letter to someone, and when he dated, the letter was dated Tainus Esther. And the Baden, I don't know if it's a certain individual to a number of people, like a letter for Purim, I don't recall, but he wrote Tainus Esther, and on the bottom he wrote a note on the words Tainus Esther. Rebbe liked to make my mekaymis for everything. So Tainus Esther is a long note discussing why is it called Tainus Esther. It's not the Tainus of Tzuma Alai Shleishis Yom V'Layla V'Yom. It's not this Tainus. That was a different time. Lamaisa, he writes at the ending of the letter, in a footnote on the footnote, that meanwhile the letter got delayed. The letter got delayed to be sent out. And meanwhile I thought of an idea. I'm not saying this. Pshat says the Rebbe. He calls it l'chidudi. L'chidudi means like a sharp answer. So the Rebbe says, I thought now of a svara that it says that when you go to Mechama, you have to be strong. You can't fast when you go to Mechama. You have to be strong. It's also to fast. Now, in normal war, Mechama, Moshe Rabbeinu, Aaron and Chor fasted while Klal Yisrael went to fight with Amalek. However, over here, Klal Yisrael didn't have an army. There was no army. Everyone had to stand up against their neighbor. All the anti-Semites that were all around. So they had to fight with them. So no one could take the risk of fasting. They all had to be strong to be able to stand up to fight for their lives. The only one who was safe was Esther. She was in Beis HaMelech. No one could attack her. So she was able to, she fasted for Klal Yisrael.
She doesn't need to fight.
So could be.
That's why you call it.
Maybe that's why it's called Tainus Esther, because only she fasted.
She's saying, the mice they did fasting every day. It's not mashing that way from the Gemara.
From the time, yeah.
On,
It's not mashma away from the time.
wait.
The Rebbe says the chidudi, like
Wait, but you're talking about on your Gimel Adam that they didn't fast.
yeah, but it doesn't
They did
offer.
fast
This is a
3 days.
shaila. This is a shaila. Why is it called Tainus Esther? This Tainus has nothing to do with the Tainus of. That would have been Nisan time. It has nothing. And it says it did not make any time to commemorate this in Nisan, those Azecher, because during Chodesh Nisan you're not supposed to fast. So you don't have any Zecher to those Tainus. We have a Tainus which is on Yud Gimel Adar. This is a shaila that you could discuss and see if someone has a good shot as to why it's called Tainus Esther. Gimel. The Yom Yidalid Ba'adar Hu Purim B'chal Purim B'im Aleph B'gimel Lis'anes B'im Hey V'yesh Oz B'smila Yas V'sasuda B'layla Haval Asandik V'abiyah Ben Mutarin Lechol B'yoyim. They're allowed to eat.
Allowed to eat, but they could fast every day.
V'yitzichim Lis'anes B'im Vav. Haval Odem Acher Sheshachach Ba'ochol B'yoyim Hey he should fast on Friday. This is in a case where it's pushed off to Sunday, so you could move it to Friday. The car of the Megillah is a little bit big the Shabbos and Erev. People not always realize this, but even Thursday night, you're supposed to come on Big Day Shabbos. Whatever your Big Day Shabbos is, the suit, the kapata, whatever it is, the shtraimel, come to the Megillah.
Not the rest of.
Because Yahweh, I just want to tell you so much dressing up that this year you have to remember that Matzei Purim is Shabbos. Certain types of things that we wear, if there's no Eidiv or you don't carry by the Eidiv, could be an issue with carrying a Shabbos. For example, a mask. A mask is not a malbush. You can't carry that in Shabbos. Or you're wearing, let's say, like these shoes that they wear, like these shoes that are very long, or stilts. These are problem on Shabbos to wear. Wearing actual clothing, which is a costume, is not a problem, because that's forgotten. A hat. But if you're wearing a hat on top of a hat, you have a problem. What's the second hat doing?
The glasses that you don't wear.
It's not warming you up anymore. Or wearing up
funny glasses.
Funny glasses.
It's
Shabbos also.
No,
Right.
you start getting dressed before Shabbos.
Those that are going to be part of this map of the Kaddish are more
be careful.
able to have this problem.
Right.
So,
I'm
most people don't.
I'm going to do this.
Yeah? If you're a family, you're doing it?
When you guys wash,
I'm going to eat with the meal in a Seudah that we're starting like an hour before Shabbos.
Yeah.
what are you doing? Whatever
You do whatever works.
What works? And late morning.
Try to do it Chatzos. Yeah, before Chatzos if you could.
Well, it's like 1:10.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Try to do it. You could before Chatzos. If not, you do after Chatzos. I'll call upon him if you didn't do it early, you do it later, you do it whenever you could. Right.
It's sad to remember. You go to other Christ like you can find in the Chacham a stone, you get a satna. But the Rebbe came Purim, you don't know it's Purim. You know, there's a fresh dough. And you guys are big on drinking. But this very not easy. The Purim is like very normal, considering what you. I'm not saying people didn't drink. The Rebbe was pushing It was extremely misuda. It wasn't rowdy. It wasn't. You know?
Morty, who made you a judge?
I'm not a judge.
He was around.
I was there.
Remember when you
I was still very not easy. That was the fact.
Yeah, and you know what? Siddim knew there was a Fabrengen. You don't drink because you have to be at a Fabrengen. You don't drink. You don't drink. And the Rebbe made sure.
They had to gain a sling of little teeny cups. In the beginning was paper schnapps. Later on, it was plastic already. The concrete break one was a 12
guy got drunk in the middle of bringing and was hoping. And they were good like this, even. And what's his name? I was
Sunken.
it's a Sunken. He got up middle the while the Rebbe is talking, he got up and he says in Russia, he says, "This is the Rebbe. I'm a dog. I don't know how to say this in Russia." Like two times while the Rebbe is talking. Can you imagine? 7 minutes. And the Rebbe smiled. He fell asleep. And he smiled. Leave him alone. They want to grab him. Nice. After that, he said that when he was in Russia, they caught him and put him in jail and they tortured him. So they told us who's the Rebbe, and we're going to let you go. So he said, I'm the Rebbe. So the guy hit him and he said, you're a dog. Who's the Rebbe? And when he was drunk, but the Rebbe, he remembered that. So he said, this is the Rebbe, I'm the dog. I was there for break.
Who is this?
Am I right? It was very.
Who was it?
Yeah.
You know who it was?
Yes.
Shmerel Batumah.
Really?
He had like a voice always.
How old?
It was a guy by his insanity. He was really a casket all the time.
It's called Lipsker?
No.
They had an English, the Rebbe would say, this one person, any of the Rebbe would say, the one person.
Moitzi had the lawyer.
They take one card.
Larry Gordon's father?
No.
Grandfather?
I think it's listen to see it was a lot.
Yeah.
I like using the word fun, but
I'll tell you one of the things what it was, because the Rebbe would be upstairs with Chabrei, would first eat a meal upstairs in Friedik Rebbe's apartment before the Chabreim. And where the Alter sitting there already. So the Rebbe started off earlier with the Chabreim. So there were times that he already said a lot of l'chaim there. So he came down, he himself was
he held his wine very well.
In Tafshin
there was certain years. The main famous Chabreim in the Chabad is 1958. Chabreim, it was on Albany Avenue, Gold Manor, on Albany Avenue. It wasn't in 770, and you can listen to it, by the way, the recording. And there, the Rebbe was really talked to everyone personally about the Chabreim, and he told them really what he really thought. He said a lot of deep sikhs and a deep maimer. Afterwards, he called in two chayzrim. He called in Rabbi Khan and Abraham Shem, and he asked him, I should chazer over to him what
went on?
What he said. And he said, up until the Maimer, I remember. Afterwards, he doesn't remember. It felt very awkward, but they had to chaz in front of the Rebbe for bringing. I heard from Rabbi one thing. He said that there was a certain thing that was in the something in the Maimer which the Rebbe said, I think about Lila being Zachar in the Keva, and the Rebbe said it was like something interesting, and the Rebbe said, Hazebach gesagt? He said, yeah. The Rebbe said, look for a source for it. You can look for a source. If Itaka said it, there must be a marker for it. The Rebbe spoke to Sidney Hecht. Sidney Hecht, they had the Hecht in the store over here. His children still run the store? They're selling. They're selling the store? Is it business, the store?
Sydney is who?
He opened that store, Shalom Hecht. His name was Sidney. I think the Rebbe told him then that he wanted this. It's Sidney, Zagul Chaim. So I think he told him he should use his name Shalom. I don't remember exactly. He
was clean shaven. He used to go to Australian with
Sidney Hecht was all the Hechts had kirurim from the Rebbe, but Sidney they say he was able to anytime he wanted knock on the Rebbe's door. With no gaboy, no mushamshim, go whenever he wanted.
He used to go to the bank to draw thousands of dollars of singles.
He didn't look like a regular Chabad chassid.
Money.
Anyways.
Very.
What did he tell you?
There's like $400 million on this.
Wow.
Who? Sidney Hecht?
Yeah.
He came to the dollars?
The single dollars, yeah. He actually went to the bank
as a present?
and ordered the single dollars and kept it and delivered it to
How much money was it? Oh, he was succeeding out of it to the Rebbe.
yeah. But a lot of dollars, every Sunday.
There was a very deep Farbrengen. You could see it. It's published, the Farbrengen. It's not edited by the Rebbe, but it's a public. In the not edited Sichos in Yiddish or Lashon Kodesh, you could see it. The whole long Farbrengen with many Sichos and many Memorim. Just in between the Sichos, by the Nigunim, he would tell different sins to say L'chaim and tell them various different personal things about what he wanted them to do and take upon themselves. So he was
My
more.
brother was a boy 28 years old with August and he came to America and touching the Torah for again. But it wasn't a big deal. And like the Rebbe talked to him, the Rebbe says, in Shemaim is a Esrod Sanah, and the Rebbe still want people should be big veer. Ashir Muflok, that was the Lashon. So one want to be Ashir Muflok should raise the hand and the right hand. People don't ask for if the guy says from the Rebbe or the witness. So only few people raise their hand.
In those days, people were.
And that's for bringing it. So the Rebbe looked at my father-in-law show and he said, Menachem Nochem, no, call him by his name. He raised his hand. Became a big veer. One time, label going out for bringing by Ram Nebo. I said, it's my Shreya and I want to know. That's exactly happened. So he said, I told even more. I understood it and I started raising my hand. The Rebbe told me, went with the hand like this. To make his deal. I said, from then I know I'm not going to be there.
Okay,
Was the Rebbe there?
No. When the court case with the swollen, the Rebbe said, the lawyer asked, what's the Rebbe on? So it's tefillin, this is like this. Everything goes, nothing on his name. Nothing.
Amen HaMegillah Ishlubish Big Day Shabbos Mibarev Shiyavim Beis HaKnesses Sudalid Yinsim Beis in Eres Delkish Shachem Oruf Mitzvah. We should have a shtickle Suda Arvis La'acher Shmalese Em Akadosh Shalom Tiskabel V'Koines HaMegillah. Acher Ma'ata V'Kodesh. Ata Kodesh is a pasuk written in the Mizmor Chav Beis, Kapitel Chav Beis on Meseich Aliyos HaShacher, which is referring to Esther. The Shabbat that kapitel says of the Kai Ekra, which Chazal explained in Nemar Megillah. It's referring to Megillah. Rabbi Shimon Levi Chayat of Adam Likis Megillah Balayla L'Shanayis B'Yoyim. Should read it twice. Shanemar Lekai Ekra, I call out to you Hashem Yoimam Leisana by the day, you don't answer me. L'Layla by night, V'Loi Demieli.
It's not on this.
Samach le'at Kodesh, the next pasuk of the At Kodesh. That's a read At Kodesh after Kriyas Megillah.
This stuff you have to come home, the Bible, have meeting mitzvahs, you shoot for the latest dope. It's not smacking.
People try some.
Unless it's to Shabbos.
Some people try to make a little suda.
Yeah, but you said lech, you can be Jewish.
Today we have lights. We have lights. How do people?
I don't know.
How do people have already? They're supposed to come home. It's supposed to be ready. Who's doing it? Everyone's in the show. Come home. Everything should be ready. The servants.
The women being fast.
They are later. We'll be here later. Because you already said Kaddish to Skabel. The Skabel you always say after Shemon Esrei. The Eibusher should accept our tefillah. The Skabel Tzlois L'Meusim. We already said Kaddish to Skabel right after Shemon Esrei. So after Kaddish, we say Kaddish to Al Skabel. Mitzvah Shabbos is a different seder. We'll read that.
Kaddish? We just
So Kaddish Shalom, but without the Skabel after the Megillah.
Yeah, it's like a woman. Okay.
No. After the Chazan. The Chazan says Kaddish Shalom without the Skabel. Hilchos.
He goes to Hilchos.
Yeah, like the other.
So like a novel.
Yeah.
It's like after it's in the morning.
Yeah.
No, before it, if you want to ask me,
Noyegin Litin Koidem Purim Sivhei Maxis Menamazbeya Kavur Boy Samakim Mizman. A half of the currency in that place. Minig Litin Gimel Machzies, to give the minig is to give not just a half, 3 halves. So the Parshas Kisisa, our Parsha Ksiv Gimel Pam Tumba in the beginning. Loisim be'erev l'fnei Kiyas Megillah. We give it before Kriyas Megillah, meaning in Tainas Esther, we give it. We give it out to Aniyim. Cotton is potter. Give for him until he's obviously older and to give himself. There's a shaila if you go by 13 and 20. Why? Because going to war, it's 20 years old. You can't go to war before 20 and part of the army if you tell you. And the draft is 20. And 13, we bar mitzvah. So you go by the fact that you're bar mitzvah, you're a gadol, you should come up to shchayim shekel. You go by 20, it's 2 shivs. The mice of the minig is a machzah shekel that the father does give everyone in the household, all the children, the women also, and the children, just like kaparis. And it's not only that, there are achreinim that say, l'chol ha'oiver ala pakudim, it says, eat from machzah shekel, anyone who goes by to be counted should give a machzah shekel, l'chol ha'uber pakudim, they even give for an uber. Just like the kaparis people give. But over there, the uber, if the zachar and the cave over here, they give machzah shekel for the whole family. It's such a minig. I don't know if everyone does it, but it's such a minig. So once the child's older, you should you should mechanech him to give on his own. He's 13 already. You should take out his own $1.50 and buy the coins. What are we doing by giving? We're buying the coins. The coins belong to the shul, right? Or to whoever gave the coins. So you want to buy those coins. So you pay the value. The face value of each coin is 50 cents. So you're buying it for $1.50, and then you're putting it back. Now I'm giving it. So I'm giving these 3 coins a half a coin. That's what you do. Mishabruda asks l'chora, it's not the real value of it because to buy these coins costs more. It's like $6, $7.
Why 3 coins?
That's connected. Yeah, it's the extra l'chora, extra ingot.
It doesn't mostly silver.
So we take the ones that, and there's another meaning of silver, by the way, which doesn't say it has to be silver. It's another, in Shulchan Aruch doesn't mention silver. Another meaning to use silver, that's why they use the ones from 1964 and earlier. Which again, Minadin you can use without silver also. And those countries that don't have half a dollar of currency, half of the currency, they use like a half a dollar or something. They use something which has a that can be used anywhere. Currency that can be used everywhere. Not every country has a 50-cent coin.
What do you mean to use?
What are they going to do in countries don't have a 50-cent coin? Take an American 50 cents. It works everywhere, right? So whatever currency will work everywhere.
The science in Canada, no, we don't take American.
It's not, right? No. Yeah.
So Maisa, Shabruda asks, L'chora, you're chipping out the tzedakah. The tzedakah is it's worth much more than 3 coins. You go buy it online today, it's probably cost you $20 to buy. I'm not sure what the price is today. When I bought it was around $6 each. So you can order it online. So it used to go to coin stores. I don't know if they're around. There used to be an Avenue U, a coin store. I don't know if they're still around. Yeah, you buy it from 1964 and earlier. But each coin is not worth 50 cents today. Worth more. Shabruda says that the Gabbai, the shul wants it because they want money. Yeah. So they're willing to give it for a lower price. Okay. Or the hektish. You're selling hektish at a lower price, but it's a toivas the hektish. And hektish should be sold. Stockers should go out at a lower price to be able to get all the revenue. The Gabbai are very excited by the shekel time. It's who could put the coins down, who can't put coins. Different rules. The Gabbai will scream at you. You bring your own coins. You're taking money. So it's a whole to do.
Are there people that are there to pay the value of the silver?
Yeah, I do it one time. Shabruda says I think you should try to do for 1 coin value. To try to do the actual value. So you can give the actual value of one coin.
So it's 3 coins, but we pick them up and put them down 3 times, right?
No, you don't have to do it 3 times. It's like people toivel the kelim in the mikveh 3
So
times.
there's no need. It's just
People toivel 3 times, but not the kelim.
Each member, not 3 times.
Yeah.
okay.
For your you're doing it for
Feel like
oneself
put it down.
is
For
once.
yourself,
Okay.
put it down.
People have something where they started to shtick you. You're not. I see it all over. People start doing. Do I have to do it 3 times? No, 3 times.
Okay.
You don't have to do it 3 times. It makes you feel good. You could do it. It's not.
What the Rebbe did?
Pay 3 times.
I don't know if it was done, but I don't know what he did, but I doubt it was 3
Came down
times.
to listen to Megillah with all the kids and standing in their cups and this. But I would try to put every pushkin.
So, but that was a matzah sheker, tzedakah, but
That's just by mincha time.
Right.
Look at that.
we have to go to Ma'ariv just to mention some common points.
You're number 10,
When
right?
it comes to Mikra Megillah, you should just know if you feel you missed a word or two, something comes up, you can hear, say it, read it, Baal Peh, meaning read in the Chumash or Baal Peh, say it. Your Yoitze b'diavad with reading some of the words of Megillah Baal Peh, not looking inside.
How do you make sure you don't lose?
So you heard most of the Megillah. Just there was a word or two or something you felt there was some noise or something. Some baby was crying. Someone made noise. What are you going to go do now? You're going to go hear the Megillah somewhere else.
I've done
It's
that.
a difficult thing to do. Might have to do that. But what you could do is right away read whatever words you're missing. And right now you're actually behind, so you're going to have to be quicker because the Bakar is moving along. So you got to move along. If you have a Kasher and Megillah in front of you, you have a Kasher and Megillah with you, then when you're reading inside, you're not missing anything out because you read it you're not reading Baal Peh. Some of it, most of it, you heard from the Baal Korea. The rest you didn't.
You could read up.
But if you didn't have, yes, you could only minadin. Only roiv has to be b'fnim. Miut could be
Oh, you can catch up. Really.
catch up. Yeah.
You're
If you
saying
need to
that
do
you
it, if you
should
need to do it, you do it.
Until you catch up to Valkyrie, then go with him, right?
You have to be careful because he keeps on moving. So and sometimes people want to do it in a Kasha Megillah, but if they don't really know, a lot of the words in Megillah are very difficult. A lot of the words are not regular common words that we're used to. So you have to be just to be,
I have a Megillah. Sometimes I use a hummus. I get too nervous.
Yeah. So with the Chumash, it's easy. If you miss a word, say the word right there.
Wait,
You're 100%
or
yoitz.
outside.
Either one. That is considered outside. Even
Gotcha,
inside,
that's
it's
what you mean.
outside of the Megillah. That means about Peh.
Now, the word you have to do a pasuk at a time, or you can just say that word.
Say that word. No, it has to be in the order.
Continue until
It
you
has to
catch
be
up.
in the right spot where you missed it. You missed the word, say that word right away. But what happens if the Balkari now moves to the
Right,
next
but you
word?
don't always
You're gonna have
realize
to
it.
read the
Well,
next
you
word.
never- you don't. It takes a second till you register that you missed it.
So you're gonna have to
The
stop a few
Balkari is
words.
usually a word or two ahead. Usually.
That's gonna be the problem.
What about the drinking coffee before the Megillah? The first the whole day, right? It's finished my one coffee before Megillah.
So if you need to, if you're too schwach, you could. Saying it's not like the minig is generally don't, but someone who's schwach is not going to make it a Megillah can definitely take a coffee and have something before.
Especially this year, that is like
Yeah.
quarter to
They could do it. Another thing, some a common mistake that people make, and every year you have to correct people about, they think that they have to have the Shleich Manis 2 different brachas. There's no such thing as 2 brachas. It has to be 2 minin. It could be have a piece of meat and a bottle of mashke, the shahakol. There's no problem with that. I have this thing, the ladies, every year with the women, you have to remind them, and the men, it's okay if it's 2 brachas. They mix up 2 brachas, 2 types. You're not 2 the same foods. You have to 2. It's not an issue about having the same bracha. You can have a whole Shleich Manis just with shahakol. There's no problem.
Has to be the same thing though.
An orange and an
And you also
apple.
on the Shleich Manis.
2 different fruit.
It's fine.
Those are different minim.
Yeah.
I did
Yeah.
some advertising in a magazine.
And you
Your
guys-
Shiloh could be about a green apple and a red apple.
and you guys-
No.
One Shleich Manis to one person.
Oh, to one person.
And then if you have a married son, if you give it to your married son, we'll see.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because that's Senechal Shulchan.
Again, a pidin, one person Mishleich
Even a
Manis.
car, right? A son, follow.
Yeah.
I just saw advertising in a magazine. Purim.
Thank you everyone for joining.
It's called seven board meat. $1,000.
Hilchos Purim.
Thank you. Veilig Purim.
Hey,
Right to the
you're allowed. Seven board meet. Seven
Veilig
meetings.
Purim.
Wow,
Veilig
one shot?
Purim.
Is that 1 minute, 2